First up, the earthquake in Mexico has triggered a tsunami in the country. The earthquake of magnitude 8.1 struck off the southern coast of Mexico, shaking buildings in the capital city. An earthquake that took place late at night. As per the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, its epicenter was 123 kilometers southwest of the town of Chiapas at a depth of 33 kilometers. The tsunami alert was issued for 8 countries. Now, Mexico's Civil Protection Agency says this was the strongest earthquake to hit the country since a devastating 1985 tremor that toppled buildings and killed thousands of people. Now, the latest we have at this point is that 5 people have reportedly died in that earthquake, of which 2 are young children. The earthquake struck late at night. A number of people were possibly sleeping at the time of the earthquake. These are the first visuals coming in from Mexico. The state of Chiapas is where the earthquake struck off the coast inside about 125 kilometers away from Mexico's western coast. Let's also take a look at the map of where exactly this has taken place. There you can see Chiapas highlighted there for you on the map. The border of the southern border of Mexico, of course, with Guatemala, concern for other countries in the region as well. Now, that's a fairly long coastline that Mexico has along the Pacific, and that is what's caused concern over the possibility of larger tsunami waves crashing into the coastline. We'll have to wait and watch as to see what exactly happens on that front. But for now, here's the information. 8.1 is the measurement of the earthquake on the Richter scale. My colleague, WION's senior foreign editor, Padma Rao, joining us live on the broadcast for more on that story. Padma, for many of us, we're not very certain of exactly what kind of region this is in Mexico, how many people perhaps live in Chiapas. If you could fill in the gaps for us, please.
Sure. Mexico has 32 states, including a federal region. This is the so-called Free State of Chiapas. It is to the very south of Mexico. And it, in fact, that entire Pacific coast, and it also happens to be the part of Mexico as also the east coast of Yucatan, right up to the country Belize, which that faces the Caribbean Sea, and this side faces the Pacific Ocean. So Mexico is currently facing, I think all of Latin America are currently facing a twin whammy. All the hurricanes coming in from the Atlantic. We've just had Harvey, and then we had Irma, and there's Katia coming up, and there's another one coming up. That's on the other coast of Mexico. And now we had this earthquake, which is, has triggered off a tsunami. They say that the waves are about as high as 2.5 foot high, which is not very high, but we don't really know that. We're not sort of, I'm not able to tell. I did cover the tsunami in Sri Lanka, yes, and I know that the shallower the coast, the harder hitting a tsunami can be. So I don't know whether that wave is likely to gather in height and strength as it reaches the coast, whether it's already hit the coast. What we know is that 5 people are dead, and interestingly, Aisha, some even to the northern state of Tabasco in Mexico. So it isn't just Chiapas that seems to be affected.
Right, and we believe, Padma, also that the epicenter is 33 kilometers deep below the ocean, and that the epicenter is about 100 kilometers off of the coast. Do you think that also makes an impact in terms of the damage that might take place?
Well, it's very difficult to assess this. I remember speaking to many experts during the Sri Lanka tsunami, and if you remember, the epicenter of that tsunami was in Southeast Asia, in Indonesia. But even the west coast of Sri Lanka suffered a massive blow. There were thousands of people killed, trains ripped, practically hanging over trees. It was a devastating sight. So it really depends. I think, soon we will be speaking to some seismological experts, and they would be able to tell us better what the depth of the ocean is along the Chiapas coast, and how this tsunami is likely to build up. And it's also likely to affect other neighboring countries, because Chiapas, indeed, most of that part of the western coast of Mexico lies in a zone that seems particularly vulnerable, that is seismically.
Right. Padma, thank you so much for joining us here on the broadcast and giving us an idea of where exactly Chiapas is, and of course with your reportage of the tsunami in Sri Lanka, adding more understanding to what's taken place in Mexico. Currently, of course, the information we have for our viewers is that the earthquake has been one of 8.1 on the Richter scale. It's been revised from the initial 8.0, and we're hearing reports that at least 5 people have been killed, including 2 children.